That's not my problem. I go from here to there. But I mean, if we don't have the true identity of Ecuadorians or people from Quito, we are never going to solve our problems because we are very independent and we don't think collectively.
Yeah, this would be an incredibly interesting set, the identity of Ecuador and Quito put together.
I would love to find out.
Our impressions when I was at the Ecuador Pavilion, and I was completely blown away at the pre-Columbian, like 2,000 years ago, the culture that was here. That layer which is here, that's something which I had no idea about. I mean, I knew about the pre-Columbian civilization and so on, but that could be a hugely interesting thing. And the other is, I mean, the Amazons and the nature that you have, and the Galapagos. I mean, this is unparalleled. Unparalleled.
Jungle.
Huh?
Oh, we have like have everything in just like a few hours.
Maybe you can create, I mean, it's an interesting exercise. All the layers that you have, the potentials, and as you say, the city of possibilities. I think what is there, and there's a person called Simon Anhalt, I don't know if you know him, the city branding and the nation branding, he does that. And he interviews thousands and thousands of people from around the world. Howard, do you know him? Simon Anhalt, he's British. And
where does he work?
Thousands of people around the world and interviews them. Asking them, what do you think of Paris? What do you think of New York? What do you think of the US? That's the nation branding. And Paris is always number one. It's not New York, it's Paris. What is the most, the city with cityness? It's Paris. And he says that reality is not important. It's what we think of something that's more important. Nobody is interested in reality. And all this good Mercer study of quality of life, for example, like Vienna, the city we live, it's number one since years. It's amazing, but we feel it's totally boring.
For me, it's not like that.
No, it's not. Yeah. Public transport is fine. We need public, but it's not. There are other things that really makes the city great.
And sorry, could I also argue that, like, you mentioned the fact that you want to find an identity for the city. I think that identity actually comes through by people who do things and actually make things happen. So yeah, you don't care about all these communities in the south and in the east or in the west that like don't matter to you.
Not me.
No.
Other
Let me be clear. I'm not accusing you of that. All I'm saying is that that's the tension. So I'm a total outsider, right? I don't live in obviously, but what I'm trying to say is that like. A lot of that, like, what you can do is, like, think about the community that you actually live in, talk to the people who actually care about that community, and just start changing things in that community, right? Making stuff happen, right? And I think that the identity actually comes through when you actually start to do stuff, and people say, oh, that's so cool, I want to learn from you, right? And they'll come and talk to you, and then, like, it starts to spiral and, snowball into something bigger, and then eventually, like, the whole city's starting to talk about these things, right? I just think that might be a more grassroots way of doing it, because, like, to actually, like, have a workshop and like agree on an identity, that could take some time, right? Like, and nobody's ever going to actually fully agree on anything anyways. So you might as well just like look at it as the sum of all these different parts that actually exist within a city. That's fine.
I think the good starter is how do you connect the city, right? Because as Mavi said, Quito is really disconnected. You don't know what is happening in the north or the south, right? So I'm doing an analogy here. You have youth with technology, internet being connected. What's the catalyst for Quito to be connected? That's the deal. How do you connect Quito with public transportation, with cultural, interviews, cultural things that are happening all around the city? How do you find that type of connection? Because, we are young and that's great, but we did not know what is happening in Cubaya or in the south of the city. So how do you do it? That's the thing that you see, right? When you are an elite civilization, you are detached from the city. So you're not part of the participants of the city. So you're implementing politics or economics that do not matter because you are not connected to the city. So how do you make that connection?
For example, I think that there are many things that can connect the city. One example, I'm not a urbanist or not an architect. But for example, there's ciclopaseo, that is this street that is like for bicycles. And yeah. No, but it's like on Sundays you can go from all over the city. I think
it's just on Sundays.
yeah, but it's an example that is possible.
Yeah, it is
people from the south
Yeah.
can go to the north. Or for example, what happened this week, something really different, like the lights and the festival connect all the people. I don't know if the people that were organizing that could even imagine that so much people was going to go there, but maybe you can create these spaces or these different things to make people get involved.
Absolutely, but one question I would put, if you want to connect things, I would put the question, why do you want to connect?
Why?
Because just connecting does not have something on the horizon. Why shouldn't we connect? You know? And this, I think would be interesting to bridge with the narrative that you use, the city of possibilities, right?
Yeah.
And city of possibilities is a city where people have windows of opportunities. And creating those windows of opportunities is an essential thing. And that has to do with job creation, that has to do with culture, that has to do with also. And how do you create those windows of opportunity? That would be a big challenge.
And I would add that opportunity to me is doing, getting to the doing part, and just talking about it and saying like, oh, we may do this. This is a great idea. Ideas are like, you know, a dime a dozen, right? You can get like them really cheaply, right? Like they're everywhere. The point is like, how can you actually take an idea and actually turn it into reality? That I feel is like always the most important thing. Implementation, like actually following through and saying, yes, that's what we're going to make happen. Because like once you do, people will see it, right? Like this, like the Fiesta de Luz, like they did it. People see it. Everyone's excited, right?
But what do you do next?
Yeah,
What's the thing?
Yeah.
You have to have like a plan afterwards to just implement those ideas in every part of the city. And you have to have a reason to do it, like you said. I think the study of Comité del Pueblo, like you said, is really interesting because it acts as a community in itself. So they really know what is happening inside of their community, and they know how to act if there's a problem or not.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, that it didn't grew up as a planned cities. It just happened. Comité del Pueblo.
And I'll add this. I actually have to go. I'm sorry. I scheduled dinner and I'm trying to do too many. It's my last day in keto, so I'm trying to do way too many things at once. So I'm just like cramming them all in. But I'll say this. So one of the groups I'm a part of in Toronto is called Civic Tech Toronto. Does everyone know what Civic Tech is? So Civic Tech is a global movement actually that's happening right now, and what's going on is that a lot of people are getting together, so mostly technologists, but also policy folks, designers, people who are interested in cities, are getting together to talk about how we can use technology to solve civic problems. So these are basically those non-profit problems that like businesses will probably never pay for. But the thing is, they're real problems, right? Like issues like, for example, the poor accessing services in the city, or open data, or like open government, right? Like these are the issues that people are talking about now, which I think are very important. So anyways, we started that group about a year ago. We had literally 12 people in a room. We just started talking about what does this actually mean? And so our thing was like, we just wanted to do. And so our platform basically was, we started a weekly meetup group. Literally, that's all it was. We had donated space from various tech companies and sort of like organizations that were interested in this sort of stuff. And we just like put it up on meetup.com and just told people just come. And every week, basically, the format is we start with like an inspirational speaker who talks about something related to technology and how that benefits the public space. And then we actually have like what we call breakout groups. So people actually just get up and they go, breakout groups. Breakout groups. So basically, someone just like puts up their hand and says, "Hi, I'm from a nonprofit group that does work with refugees, and this is actually a real problem in Canada right now. We have a ton of Syrian refugees coming, and I'm interested in talking about how we can actually allow refugees to access services. We may need to develop an app. We need to develop a website. We may need to, like, this is a technological question that I'd like to work on." And that group actually formed and turned itself into a project, and it just started going. There's other groups right now that are working on. There's this thing called a mesh net. It's super cool. It's this idea of, does anyone know what a mesh net is?
No.
So mesh net. A mesh net. So basically distributed internet, because internet basically now is like accessed through ISPs, right? Internet service providers. You have to log into a central server and that connects to the internet. So what they want to do is actually they're using these like little pods known as Raspberry Pi boxes. They're like it's basically a mini computer, and what they want to do is distribute the internet access to multiple different points all around the city. And so if anybody can connect to one node, you can actually get connected to the rest of the nodes and get connected to the internet. It's this idea of distributing the internet and decentralizing the authority of the ISPs. It's actually a really cool project. Hacking right at it. Yeah, it's really super awesome. I love it. I love these guys to death. And then there's other groups that are working on like wacky things, like for example, just that, like there's a lot of data projects going on. For example, like the city of Toronto actually doesn't actually release fully as an open data set all of the planning applications that are coming up. So buildings that are about to get demolished or built into something new. So there was a group that actually just sat together and worked on trying to download this information from like various different sources. Like there's these things known as data scrapers that you can write, and they literally just like dump data from different websites onto like one central database, and they created a tool with that so that you can start using it for those purposes. So anyways, the tech community is super awesome, and my point is that there's a lot of super awesome programmers out there that are just like, I hate my job because all I do is like program something for somebody else who I don't care about, and it's like this product that will just make my boss a ton of money and I will receive no benefits from this, right? And they actually want to actually help, and they actually want to make the community a better place because they know that technology is part of the future of all this, right? So that's just one example, I would say, of like how this sort of action can actually start to happen. It's really just getting people together in from these different perspectives. Just saying we're going to do it. And one of the cool things about Civic Tech is that it does bring together all these different planners, designers, marketers. We've got like HR people, and the whole point is that like these people don't normally talk to one another, and it's like just even that convening session of being like, oh, this is actually how you think. I know this was a problem I had, but I didn't realize that people thought this way. That actually is already a huge learning experience, and that alone actually leads to some really awesome projects. So.